Eric Holder once said that if you're waiting for the Supreme Court to save us, you better think about it again. So now, who are the crime fighters instead of voters?
We're no longer, as of today, with the Supreme Court's decision, we are no longer voters. We're above that. We are crime fighters now.
Okay. And so the Supreme Court has now become judge, jury, and executioner. How does the Supreme Court decide affects how much power the president, Congress, and the courts have in the United States?
It's a power imbalance. Because here's the thing, the courts is the power of the United States, and you gave it more to the presidency, which is if the presidency has bad intention, they're going to use that power, and it's going to be backed up by the Supreme Court.
So this feels like a movie straight out of All the President's Men, and All the President's Men are all what?
All the people that's going to be behind the predecessor if he gets elected president. It's going to be people like the Heritage Foundation, people like General Michael Flynn, people like Steve Bannon that's going to be running this country, not the predecessor. Okay?
All right. So the bottom line is, as they say, the right hand of the predecessor, basically the brain of the predecessor, because he's the one what?
The predecessor has the I don't have a brain type thing. Okay? And his enablers is the corrupted brain, okay?
What happens in society when the Supreme Court makes decisions on important issues like civil rights?
I'm going to take an issue with affirmative action first with civil rights. I don't use the word civil. Civil is more optional to me. It's more human rights to me.
Okay. So what did Clarence Thomas decide to do with that after he used it?
He took it away from other people that have the opportunity to get out of those circumstances. He wants to bring back slavery. He is like the Stambo in the black community.
Also, he reminds you of that cartoon.
He reminds me of Uncle Ruckus. He reminds you of Stambo. That's who he is.
Oh, so somebody might think we out here gaslighting today, but you the sharpshooter, and you call a spade, and there it is. They got their behavior, and on our side of the chart, we have our behavior.
Yes, right.
Okay, so what do you think about the abortion?
What is going to happen is more women are going to die in poor communities is going to die for less access to health care on abortion. Okay?
And we're going back to the days
where rich women would have access to abortion, and the poor women just hurry up and die and force you into forced birth. Okay?
Okay. So we did civil rights, we did abortion, and we did affirmative action. How do the decision of the Supreme Court change what people think and talk about in the United States?
The Supreme Court in the United States has lost respect. It is illegitimate at this point. It is a corrupt Supreme Court. They even legalized bribery. If you look at the Snyder decision, they legalized bribery, which makes it harder to prosecute people for bribery.
Okay, so basically, they want their cha-ching and they want the money in their pockets.
Yes, they do. Clarence Thomas for $400 million. Samuel Alito.
How much did he have?
Only $100,000.
Was it 100 or 200,000?
$100,000 to $200,000. That's just the conservative estimates.
That's what their estimate was.
That's just the estimates.
Well, why come Judge Roberts didn't jump in? Why didn't he take control of this court? What do you think? Why he didn't take control?
When I think about with Judge Roberts came from an era where when he wanted to get rid of, his goal was to be more pro-business, and his goal was to get rid of the Civil Rights Act of 1965. Okay. That was his goal.
So now he got the opportunity to what?
He got the opportunity to achieve it and much, much more.
Wow. So just like they said, if you're waiting for the Supreme Court...
The Supreme Court is not going to save you. As a matter of fact, the Supreme Court is going to affirm oppression.
Mm-hmm. The Supreme Court basically has no empathy.
They have no empathy. They don't care.
And they don't have no integrity whatsoever.
They have no integrity. The Supreme Court has no integrity whatsoever.
So one of the good things about narcissistic behavior is they will show you who their enemies are. They will turn people upside down. That's what they do. All right. How do the decisions of the Supreme Court impact the economy, like rules for business, workers?
Here's what it's going to do for business and what's going to do for workers. What it's going to do to workers is, let's just say if you try to organize a union and they try to fight and employers intimidate you for not even hiring for a union, they can fire you even quickly.
Okay.
And you don't even have the NRB to help you because they weaken the NRB's ability to protect your right to organize. Okay? And that's just the workers' side. You could be fired a lot quickly. And with technology that is coming easily, they could just replace you with technology quickly.
On the business side?
On the business side, you could get away with a lot of stuff as a business person, okay? And that me myself as a business person, you could get away with some unethical things as a business person and treating your employers like crap, and you could get away with it.
Okay. Are ownerships or ideas?
Yes.
So, no. Basically, we're saying, what about on the side of ownership?
On the side of ownership, and this is just the side of ownership, you could treat your owners as shareholders with crap as well. And you can lie to your shareholders and get away with it.
So you think that the sole goal of the Trump administration that's attempted to come into power, what they will do is get these people to go along with their 2025 plan, and then once they get in there, they're going to have to turn all their money over to what?
Once they turn off on there, they're going to have to turn their money to the predecessor. And the rich is thinking that, oh, I can control the predecessor once that I get in because all I want is my tax cuts and my deregulation. You may get more than your deregulation. You may get more than what you want.
All right.
It's going to be even worse. So the businesses are making a big mistake as well.
They're making a big mistake.
They're making the same mistakes as Weimar Germany back in the 19th and the rise of Hitler.
Okay.
And the rise of Mussolini. And the rise of these other dictators. Businesses are not spared. If you look to the example of businesses, look to Governor DeSantis of Florida as an example.
And what did DeSantis do?
DeSantis, when you dissented against DeSantis, look what happened to Disney and what they did. He destroyed the tax rights to Disney under Governor DeSantis in Florida. They're not learning from that example.
Well, they're going to find out because, as Joy Reid said, when you look at Game of Thrones, what happened? What was the ending? Did they like the ending?
The ending sucked.
The ending sucked. And what happened in the end of that?
What happened was Brandon Stark, known as the Red Eye, became the king of the Six Kingdoms. It used to be the Seven Kingdoms. The North declared independence with Sasha Stark as kingdom. Okay?
So why did they want to write that off?
They want to write the ending off because that Jon Snow was supposed to be the leader of the 6 or 7 kingdoms.
And what ended up happening?
It ended up Brandon Stark was the leader.
And what does that sound like today?
Sound like the Supreme Court. It sound like the courts.
And the predecessor.
And the predecessor.
Okay. How do the Supreme Court's decision change what rights and freedoms people have in the United States?
There will be no rights and freedoms for poor people. It's just like you're like the peasants. Because what the Supreme Court just did is just make himself into king-like power as a king. And we are just the peasants. We're not even citizens, and you will have no rights for free speech.
So that was the next thing. Free speech, privacy. What about privacy?
There ain't going to be no privacy. If you're going against the predecessor,
everything.
They're going to go after your money. They're going to go after your freedom. You're going to be going to jail, or they can send Team 6 and kill you.
Well, that sounds like the movie, and a lot of times when I reference a movie is because a younger person can relate to the movie because I'm so much older, but they did make a movie called Enemy of the State. Remember that?
It was Enemy of the State. Another one was Minority Report as well.
Yeah, Minority Report.
It gave warnings. Also, too, with the environment and with the environmental laws being just like Elysium, they gave warnings about this.
Elysium?
Yeah. Mad Max movies.
Yep, Mad Max. That's Mad Max Under the Thunderdome.
Hangman's Tale. It gives 1984. It gives warnings about what is going on. warnings.
Okay, so now you have, what about or fair legal processes?
There ain't gonna be no fair legal process.
And so what the three judges expressed today was all point bulletin alarm, gasoline draws burning, or Mississippi burning, just basically saying, hey, if we're afraid, we come up here, we cry. The decisions that was made just recently, we are under an existential threat, not only from the predecessor, but the Supreme Court, because they are basically giving him the okay placky stamp to say you can do anything you want to do.
Yeah, you can do anything you want to do. And what's even worse about it, the attorneys for the predecessor did not even ask for that authority to begin with.
Okay, so what would you have to tell the voters?
I'm going to tell the voters this. You are no longer voters. From now on, you're your own crime-fighting force. Because the rest of the institutions are not going to save you. You're your own institution at this point.
And if all of us crime fighters band together...
If all of us crime fighters band together, we have a chance to salvage this. But if we just act like everything is just normal and we're not paying attention, we're going to be ending up like Germany in the 1940s in concentration camps. Like Italy, Germany in the 1940s, or Franco, Spain, or Pantarach, Chile, or Bolsonaro's Brazil, or the Philippines with Marcos, or Duterte. That's where it's going.
All right. So, on that note, what you got to say to the voters before you get up out of here?
What I have to say to the voters is, I beg you, pay attention, read, listen to the news, listen to the right type of news. Don't listen to Fox Noise.
That's right. Because it's an educational moment.
And this is an educational moment.
And
this is an existential threat. If we do not pay attention, we are going to lose this country. And your vote is going to happen for the next 50 years, because this is consequential. Because if you vote wrong, this is going to affect you for the next 50 years. The next 50 years. I know we are a mental health channel, but politics also affects mental health. The courts is affecting mental health. I was prepared for this, okay, many times. And I even wrote one of the stories in NLVD called We Need an Interpreter. And they took the interpreters away. So please, voters, get ready to vote like your life depended on it, because it does. So, peace.